News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Niket Karunaratne.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines.
Satasa is to provide coconuts and rice at concessionary prices continuously. Severe damages to coconut cultivations by monkeys. The Assistant US Secretary pledges to extend support for the government's anti-corruption drive. Luhan has been remanded again. Farmers are to provide 11,000 acres of Kantale land on an annual permit basis. The wavy atmospheric condition is to bring rain again. An impeachment motion against the South Korean president fails.
On to those and other stories in detail now. The Satasa program to sell rice and coconuts at concessionary prices is continuing.
The consumers have expressed their gratitude to the government for providing them relief. Accordingly, a coconut could be purchased for a price of 130 rupees and a kilo of nadu rice for a price of 220 rupees. Each consumer is entitled to purchase 3 kilos of rice and 3 coconuts at a time. Transporting of rice stocks to the Satasa shops in the Anuradhapura district according to the requirements is taking place. As a result, the consumer public are able to buy white and nadu rice without inconvenience. Meanwhile, President of the National Campaign to Safeguard the Rights of Consumers, Ranjit Vittanage, at a media briefing said an artificial shortage of rice has been created in the market. Ranjit Vittanage said stocks of rice and paddy exist in the country. He points out that, however, an artificial shortage has been created in order to increase prices in the market. Creators of the crisis have set up black market prices. He also said Minister Vasantha Samarasinha has said in Parliament that the government will import rice in order to break the backbone of the saboteurs. He added that they accept the decision to import rice at this juncture, as this would definitely pave the way to end the rice mafia. The Sri Lanka Animal Producers Association says the price of chicken in the market is gradually increasing, but expressed optimism of the prices returning to normalcy in the upcoming period. President of the Sri Lanka Animal Producers Association, Ajit Gunasekara, said the climatic changes has created an impact on the small and medium-scale farmers, resulting in an increase in the production costs. These changes have brought a reduction in production. The president of the association added that there is a shortage of 10,000 cold room boilers with skin. Coconut is a topic now being discussed extensively. This is because of the coconut shortage and increases in the prices of coconuts.
Under such circumstances, attention has also been drawn on the severe damages caused to the coconut and other crops in many provinces of the island by the monkeys and talk macaques. Our correspondent says coconut crops are being severely battered by the monkeys and talk macaques in many divisional secretariat divisions in the Mathura district, including Akurasa, Athuraliya and Pitabettara. Some villages in Athuraliya and Balakavala say they are now compelled to crops as a result of the damages caused by these animals to their coconut cultivations. The villagers request authorities to immediately prepare a proper strategy to control the menace of monkeys and talk macaques. It has been estimated that there exist more than 5,000 of these creatures in the areas, including Katharagama and Tissamaharama. The villagers, severely hampered by the destruction, request the authorities to catch the animals and dispatch them to remote areas. A protest has been organized in front of the Kegal Public Market Complex, urging to provide solutions to the problems caused as a result of the attacks of monkeys and talk macaques.
The U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for South and Central Asian Affairs, Donald Lu, says his country will pledge unwavering support for Sri Lanka's anti-corruption drive. He has expressed the United States government's commitment to supporting Sri Lanka's ongoing anti-corruption initiatives as needed. He also emphasized the US government's willingness to offer technical expertise to help recover funds that were illegally taken out of the country as part of Sri Lanka's anti-corruption program. Donald Lu has made these observations during a meeting with President Anurukumara Dissanayake at the Presidential Secretariat today. He also said that the US is prepared to provide financial and technical assistance to strengthen Sri Lanka's security and economy. The discussion highlighted the US government's appreciation for the new administration's prioritization of key political, economic and social challenges. He has reaffirmed US support for safeguarding Sri Lanka's sovereignty and territorial integrity. President Anurukumara Dissanayake, speaking at the event, highlighted that Sri Lanka's political culture significantly influences corruption and waste. He emphasized that efforts are underway to reduce these issues by fostering a new and improved political culture. The president also spoke about initiatives to uplift rural living standards through improvements to the rural economy and efforts to establish a modern civil service by enhancing the quality of public services.
The program to compile data pertaining to persons and houses throughout the island is being carried out successfully. The Department of Census and Statistics says the survey that commenced on the 7th of October this year is scheduled to conclude on the 23rd of this month. Director General of the Census and Statistics Department Anoja Senaviratne says compilation of data is being carried out by the Department of Census and Statistics according to the powers vested with the department under the Statistics Ordinance. The Director General further says strict confidentiality will be maintained on the information received and guarantees not to divulge identification of any individual or a group of persons. She also points out that an identity card under the signature of the Divisional Secretary has been provided to the counting officials arriving at the residences. 19th of December has been declared as the day of the census. A Gazette notification has been declared by the President to this effect. Director General Anoja Senaviratne also said the census provides relevant information required for the planning and implementation of the national policy in the next 10 years.
South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol survived a vote of impeachment on Saturday after the vote was boycotted by governing party lawmakers. A number of lawmakers left Parliament ahead of the vote to impeach President Yoon over his decision to impose a short-lived period of martial law earlier this week. Just two remained inside, while the one governing lawmaker who returned voted against the motion. Meanwhile, large crowds of protesters gathered outside the National Assembly calling for the president's ousting. President Yoon has been facing intense pressure to stand down as leader after his shock bid to declare martial law in South Korea was aborted. The failed attempt, which would have been for the first time in over 4 decades that the law was enacted, sparked fierce backlash. Opposition lawmakers have submitted another motion for Wednesday, December 11th, the next available date they can vote on Yoon's impeachment. The lone governing lawmaker who returned to vote against the motion, Kim Sang-wook, described his predicament, telling journalists at the National Assembly that he believes the conservatism that protects Free Republic of Korea should be preserved. While he does not believe President Yoon qualifies as a president, he voted against the impeachment motion in accordance with his party's opinion. He said he had listened to the president, who apologized and said he would entrust the party to respond.
And now to talk more about the situation in South Korea, we have with us our very own senior journalist, Mr. Prasad Thorangodege. So, Mr. Prasad, what do you think will happen next after this failed impeachment?
Yes, South Korean president is safe up to now, but his political future is in danger because the path ahead for him is not a smooth one, a very rocky one, because if we take the opposition, will bring back another motion, as we saw in the news item. The opposition will bring another impeachment motion next week on Wednesday. Then after that, now let's take the move made by President Party, People's Power Party, because President just survived because of the action of his party. If the whole party, the total number of MPs of People's Power Party, they remained in the parliament and voted, then the story was could be a different one, because there were some rebel MPs. Definitely there were some rebel MPs who were willing to vote against the president. That means for the impeachment. That's why the party decided to remove the whole the total members. Only one member remained, and he also decided to vote against the impeachment. But with this decision, there's a big, a big argument about this whole scenario, because it's very chaotic. Since the President Sun Yat-sen declared the martial law in his failed attempt to declare the martial law back in last Tuesday, the country's political situation and the country's political arena is really hot and brewing. So now political analysts believe the People's Power Party follow the move today. That means they remove their MPs from the parliament without allowing them to vote. That's a move. That move was aimed to save the party rather than the president, because president is already tainted and embattled. Now the party want to minimize the damage. That's why according to many senior Korean political analysts, they decide to block the vote. Block the impeachment against the president. But the party, according to political sources in South Korea, they are not behind the President Sun Yat-sen, because the party believe the president's move to declare the martial law back in last Tuesday was a drastic measure, and it's a very dangerous move against the country. And the party believes that if the president remain in his position in the future, it will be some kind of a danger for the country as well as the party. So they will follow a different path to deal with president. That's what we can see from president's party, and but the opposition also they will try their best to do remove the president through the parliamentary process, rather than allowing him to resign. So we are expecting either president could resign in the coming days, or then we have to wait for the next impeachment move bring by the opposition Democratic Party.
That was definitely quite a detailed overview of what we can expect to see next in terms of what the people of South Korea will decide. But speaking of the impact, Mr. Dorangodage, the globe is talking about it, the world over. We are talking about it as well.
Yes, it was a top news item of the day.
Absolutely. So does this have an impact globally like it has an impact in South Korea at the moment?
The main impact at the moment for South Korea, their political stability at stake during this due to this crisis. But in the long run, it could have a kind of impact for the region as well as the global political arena, because the situation or the crisis in South Korea directly involved with the democratic ruling system and the world order. The move by the president is kind of anti-democratic step that taken against the current world order and the ruling system. That's why the whole South Koreans, large number of South Koreans are protesting against him. We saw a large crowds gather in front of the parliament, and they demonstrated throughout the impeachment process. At that time the weather was very cold. According to BBC, the temperature was -1 Celsius at that time. However, more than 100,000 protesters gathered in front of parliament even with that terrible weather conditions, because of they care about democracy, because South Koreans, they know the impact, because the martial law actually in South Korea made a negative impact back in during its history. The last last moment, that last year that imposed back in 1979. After that, in 1987, South Korea turned into multi-party democracy, and the democracy was very strong. Although there were a number of political issues, then impeachment we saw back in 2016. However, the party politics and the democratic stage was there in South Korea. The move by the president by bringing the martial law directly impacts its economy. We have to think about South Korea's economy, the 12th largest economy in the world. So this crisis can harm that economic prosperity of South Korea, and it has a global impact. Now the partners of South Korea, especially the United States of America and other Western partners, then countries like Sri Lanka, because South Korea, we have very close economic relations, and 30,000 Sri Lankan migrant workers are there. Why? Because of the economic prospects of South Korea. If that platform get damaged, then definitely impact for the countries like Sri Lanka as well. So in the long run, this crisis, the South Koreans must solve this problem or the crisis within their limits, and they have to very quickly bring back the normalcy. But now we have to mention about the military as well. Although military stepped into this crisis back on Tuesday, today the military made an announcement that they are not going to follow any such kind of order made by the president in the future, by the current president. That we can see a good move by the military, because we can see it will be another step towards normalcy. So let's hope for the best.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prasad Dodangodage, for giving us an insight as to what's happening in South Korea, and also about the impact we might have and the globe might have because of this situation, and hoping for the best. Thank you so much for sparing some time for us and highlighting this important topic, which is a global news, trending news at the moment. And we're going to continue with more local stories. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya has presided over the National Scouts Award Ceremony 2024 at the Temple Trees this morning. The event was organized by the Sri Lanka Scouts Association. 574 adults as well as Boy Scouts and Girl Guide leaders representing all parts of the island who have rendered an excellent voluntary service for a period of over 5 years were felicitated on this occasion. 8 Boy Scouts have received the highest award of Silver Lion. In addition, 11 special awards were presented to Boy Scouts commissioners of foreign countries with the objective of enhancing friendship with these states. Commemorative plaques extending thanks to 9 government and non-government institutions as well as to the 3 armed forces for their invaluable contributions to the Boy Scouts and Girl Guides movement were also presented at this occasion. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya said that Boy Scouts and Girl Guides movement is the biggest voluntary organization in the world for children. She adds that in Sri Lanka there are more than 100,000 active members in the movement. The main ambition of the Scouts movement is to turn the future children population into useful citizens. The Premier also said she believes that this is an important objective of the government. The children of Sri Lanka should receive the best of everything. Such benefits would mold them into advanced personalities with skills.
The President has decided to hand over to the farmers 11,000 acres of land belonging to the Kantale sugar factory on an annual license basis. Accordingly, the preliminary investigations to select the appropriate persons to receive lands is already being conducted by the Office of the Assistant Commissioner of Lands in Kantale. The Kantale sugar factory premises is comprised of an extent of 21,223 acres of land. The factory had commenced operations under the State Industrial Corporation Act No. 49 of 1957. However, at present it is in a state of temporary closure. The farmers in the area were reported to have requested the government to hand them over the factory's land for cultivation purposes. However, it was only the government under the current president, Andra Kumara Dissanayake, who has acceded the request of the farmers and allowed to hand them over 11,000 acres of land for farming. The program envisages the disbursement of a maximum extent of land ranging from 1 acre to 5 acres according to a proper methodology.
The National Day of the Kingdom of Thailand was celebrated in Colombo to mark the birth anniversary of the late King Bhumibol Adulyadej and Thailand's Father Day. The event, which was organized by the Royal Thai Embassy, was participated by a number of guests, including foreign dignitaries. The chief guest of the occasion was Minister of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development Sunil Handunetti.
Sri Lanka has entered the new chapter of history, and I wish to reaffirm our commitment to working closely with the President Anura Kumara's administration. Thailand and Sri Lanka has enjoyed long-standing, close and cordial relations for nearly 70 years, and indeed our timeless friendship has been strengthened centuries prior to the establishment of our diplomatic relations in 1955.
On behalf of the government of Sri Lanka, let me extend to Your Excellency, the government and the people of Thailand, my warmest good wishes on your National Day. Today we celebrate the pride and progress of the Kingdom of Thailand and the profound friendship and shared history between our two nations. Sri Lanka and Thailand are bound by ties that go beyond traditional democracy and geographical boundaries. We share a warm friendship nurtured by Theravada Buddhist teachings and unthreatened by strong people-to-people linkage that span many centuries. The exchange of monks' teachings and practice have enriched the religious life of people of both countries, bringing us close together to spirit and thinking.
The Meteorology Department says that an easterly type disturbance will be affecting the weather conditions in the island in the next few days.
Under its influence, showery conditions are expected to enhance with the low pressure condition reaching Sri Lanka towards the southwest Bay of Bengal via the Tamil Nadu coast by the 11th of this month. The Met report further points out that as a result of the wavy atmospheric situation in the east, an increase in the rainy weather condition in the northern and eastern provinces is expected from the 10th of this month. The report adds that along with the situation, a gradual establishment of northeast monsoon is also predicted. Due to the atmospheric disturbance in the Bay of Bengal, strong and provisional winds up to a speed of 60 km per hour is anticipated in the sea areas, turning the seas extremely rough. Therefore, the Department of Meteorology requests vigilance in the fishing and naval activities in sea areas around the Bay of Bengal.
Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa says a massive development, especially surrounding the tourist sector, is expected under the Clean Sri Lanka project. Measures are also underway to enhance health facilities in the tourist zones. The minister has made these remarks following a discussion with the Association of Tourist Hotel Owners in Benthara today. The meeting has focused attention on the facilities being provided to visiting tourists in the island next year. It has also been pointed out that tourist arrivals to Sri Lanka has already been intensified and the target is to bring around 4 million foreign tourists to Sri Lanka next year. The expected revenue from the source is around $8,500 million. The incoming tourists will be accommodated with necessary facilities via the Clean Sri Lanka program. Minister Dr. Dayachitsa further said the government has already identified many problems relating to the tourism sector. Minister Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa said that Clean Sri Lanka is a program which could transform the country to an elevated status within hours. He said that they would commence the program immediately. A presidential task force has already been named in this regard and the work is now in the preliminary stage. In this stage of activities, the coastal and land areas where tourists frequent will be cleaned initially. The minister also said that the aim is to give a better recognition on the country in the eyes of tourists. The government's target is to create an environment in which the tourists are able to spend their leisure in freedom. Meanwhile, the Made in Sri Lanka International Trade Exhibition, especially on behalf of tourists arriving in Alla to feel the enchanting natural beauty of the environment, has commenced in Alla town yesterday. The event is being jointly organized by the National Entrepreneur Development Authority and the Alla Divisional Secretariat Office. Governor of the Uber Province, Kapila Jayasekara, has presided over the opening ceremony. The event also paves the way for the small and medium-scale entrepreneurs.
A meeting between the leader of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya and opposition leader Sajith Premadasa and the Assistant US Secretary on Southern and Central Asian Affairs Donald Lu took place in Colombo yesterday. Deputy Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Treasury on Southern and Central Asian Affairs Robert Kaproth and U.S. Ambassador in Sri Lanka Julie Chung have also taken part in the discussion. The two parties have also discussed on several existing social, economic and political issues on this occasion. The meeting was also attended by representatives of the USAID and parliamentarians of the SJB.
Former parliamentarian Duminda Disanayake says Sri Lanka Freedom Party and the Podujana Eksath Peramuna will compete in the forthcoming local government election under the chair symbol. A discussion in this connection was held at the SLFP headquarters yesterday. Senior members of the SLFP and the Podujana Eksath Peramuna have taken part in the meeting. The discussion had dealt with preparations for the election and party reorganizational activities. Former MP Duminda Disanayake said that they have decided to commence reorganization of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. He added that they have also decided to contest the forthcoming elections along with the Podujana Eksath Peramuna under the chair symbol. Former MP Lasantha Alagiyawanna said a decision has been taken to commence reorganization activities immediately and to contest the election through an alliance including the SLFP.
Lohan Rathwatha, who was taken into custody yesterday in connection with a road accident, was ordered to be remanded until the 9th of this month. The order was delivered by the Colombo Magistrate Courts today upon producing of the suspect. The police say Lohan Rathwatha was under the influence of liquor when the accident took place in Kollupitiya last evening. Investigations have revealed that the suspect had threatened a person after causing the accident. Lohan Rathwatha was also reported to have been released on bail over an earlier incident of keeping in his possession a vehicle illegally assembled.
Minister Sunil Handunnethi says that an appropriate entrepreneur environment will be provided for the entrepreneurs through the upcoming reconstruction program of the government. He has made these observations at the Leadership Excellence Awards presentation held in Colombo yesterday. The organizers of the event was the Global CEO Forum. Chief invitees of the occasion were the ministers Vijitha Herath and groundbreaking event of celebration of 50 exemplary CEOs and their teams for their resilience, excellence and visionary leadership. The award selection was carried out by a panel of 11 judges comprising of recognized professionals. Several lecturers have been carried out by intellectuals elaborating on AI usage on national economy. Minister Sunil Handunnethi said on this occasion that the government bears responsibility for every tax payment of an entrepreneur and the government is committed to hand over the benefits to the society utilizing the tax revenue. The event was graced by foreign ambassadors, diplomats and state officials.
And now we'll take a look at more local news items in brief. A field tour was conducted to identify polluted locations in the Kalutara beach yesterday. Municipal Commissioner of the Kalathura Municipal Council, officials of the Marine Environmental Protection Authority and representatives of several other divisions have also joined the inspection tour. These officials have pointed out that this search operation is an initial measure in the Clean Sri Lanka program of the new government. An elephant named Kolya, which was believed to have roamed the Minneria and Kaudulla National Wildlife Sanctuaries in the Polonnaruwa district for 25 years, was found dead in a discreet manner in the Rotavava Protectorate Zone last evening. It is believed that the animal died around 6 days ago. A group of wildlife veterinarians of the Giritale Hospital has conducted the post-mortem. The Special Task Force has arrested 2 henchmen of Valioya Priyantha, an organised criminal currently hiding in the state of Dubai. The STF has also apprehended a T-56 firearm, a foreign manufactured revolver, several live bullets and a stock of heroin and ice narcotics from the possession of the suspects. It has also been found out that the T-56 firearm was used in 3 murders. The police STF adds that the firearm was used in a recent killing of a 73-year-old woman. A special project has been set up to provide seed potatoes at a relief price to potato farmers in the Badulla district. The program is a joint collaboration of the Ministry of Agriculture and the Semul Foundation of the Government of Korea. A program was also conducted to educate farmers at the auditorium of the Kappetipola Special Economic Centre yesterday. A group including Uva Province Secretary of the Agricultural Ministry, Upali Jayasekara, also attended the event. Carpeting of the portion of the reconstructed Valimada Boralanda main road is being conducted at present by the Bandaravela main office of the Road Development Authority. This road is being used daily by tourists and those visiting the areas such as Haputale, Ohia and the World's End. Stay tuned for more news from overseas coming up after this break. Welcome back, and on foreign news, the opposition faction fighters penetrated the town of Kanaka in the Damascus countryside on Saturday as the rebel alliance edged closer to the capital of Damascus.
The rebel alliance is fighting Syrian President Bashar al-Assad's troops from the northern and southernmost parts of the country surrounding Damascus. Further north, armed rebel fighters entered the central city of Palmyra as anti-regime forces leapt through patches of government-held territory in a 10-day offensive. Rebel forces in Syria are currently advancing quickly to capture cities previously controlled by Assad in both the north and south of the country.
Prima Kutumi, Pantamai.
And on sports news, today was the 3rd day of the 2nd test match of the 2-match test series between Sri Lanka and South Africa. The South African team has scored 191 runs for the loss of 3 wickets in their 2nd innings. The match is being played in Port Elizabeth. When the play resumed today, the Sri Lankan team was at 242 runs for the loss of 3 wickets. The overnight not-out batsmen were Angelo Matthews and Kamidu Mendis. Matthews was dismissed for 44 runs and he became the 3rd Sri Lankan batsman ever to have surpassed the 8,000 run limit in the series. Kamidu Mendis has contributed 48 runs, whereas Dhananjay De Silva, Kusal Mendis and Lahiru Kumara had become the victims of South African bowler Dan Peterson. The Sri Lankan first innings was restricted to 328 runs. Peterson has captured 5 wickets. South Africa has scored 358 runs in their first innings.
Prima Kutumi, Pantamai.
That's all the news for tonight. Join us again at the same time tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.